Welcome to the 48th Hong Kong International Film Festival, this screening of Tatami, and also staying behind for this face-to-face. First of all, I'll introduce the moderator for today, Anki Lewicki, who will be our moderator. Please welcome Anki. So now let me introduce the guest speaker first for this face-to-face, Ms. Karina Lam. 甘小姐，大家好。And of course, our honor to have the star of today, the director and also the actress for this film, Sarah Amir. Please welcome.
Yes, hello and thank you for this very warm and nice welcome. And welcome to our face-to-face with Sarah Amir, with special guest Karina Lam. And I think it will be an encounter between two multifunctional film artists who work as actresses, directors, singers, producers and casting agents. And both come from countries where the art of film has a very special status. Both Iran and Hong Kong can look back on a very rich film culture. So, welcome the ambassador of the Hong Kong International Film Festival, jury member of the Firebird Award, and Golden Horse Best Actress Karina Lam.
Thank you. Let us welcome Best Actress Sarah Amir, who comes to Hong Kong in a triple function as a member of the Firebird jury and to present two films. Tatami, the film we've just seen, is your director debut and co-directed by Israeli director Guy Nativ. And in the Australian film Shada, you play the leading role, a young mother from Iran who flees from her violent husband. Thank you so much for coming to Hong Kong.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here.
So I guess we should start with the film Tatami first, and a very simple warm-up questions. Why judo? How popular is it in Iran among women? Why not table tennis, football or whatever? Why judo?
Yeah, that's the thing. Judo is very popular in Iran, but in Israel too. And you know, this is the idea, actually the original is Guy's idea, and he worked on the script of this movie with Elham Erfani, who's an Iranian scriptwriter living in Paris. And what I know how the idea came to him, apparently during COVID time, he just reads the news about, because you know, I can give you a long list of real athletes in Iran who had the same problem, and because of conflicts between Iran and Israel, the athletes, they are not allowed to face any Israeli competitors. So this comes, you know, he read this story about one of the athletes and one of the judokas, and he starts to write it, and then he got in contact with a boxer, Iranian female boxer, who left Iran with the same problem. And that's how they started to write this. And you know, because it's very popular judo in Iran and Israel, this is, of course, they're gonna meet each other, these athletes, in a way, in all these world champion competitions and Olympics, and yeah. That's it. But also, I can say that, you know, the philosophy of judo, the fact that you need to honor your opponent, and you know, this respect was something very important about choosing judo as the topic of the movie, which I found very. I mean, I love the story. I didn't know anything about judo, but read the script, and I really loved the idea of this philosophy and this attitude of, in judo you can't, it's not like box, you can't hit, you can't hurt your opponent. It's very beautiful.
And as the film story is based on countless true events, I was wondering, how did you do your research and how did you develop the story?
And maybe I have to start from the beginning, how I got attached to the project, because in a normal way it was about the character of Mariam. I did a self-tape, I got this audition, and I put myself on tape and sent it to production, and then guy liked it and we got in contact. It was just after Cannes, and the audition was before Cannes, Holy Spider in Cannes, and everything there. And then I went to LA for the Oscar campaign, and then we met, and I read the script, and somehow I really loved the idea, but then I had some. The character was there, Mariam, but and I knew the movie gonna be in black and white, but I didn't want this character being in black and white. I needed to add more layers and make it more colorful and deep. So I came up with many ideas, and that was my kind of condition to play this character, to change it a little bit. So I got control of the script and started to just rewrite it a little bit, my character. And that's how I came up with more ideas about other characters and the whole script, and that's how Guy asked me to do the casting. And at that time, the character of Layla, Iranian-French, was already attached to the project. So I started with the casting of the rest of the cast, and because I had maybe many good ideas. And then one day he called me and he offered me this collaboration as co-directing, and he said, he's very generous, and he said, I think I'm not legitimate to tell this Iranian story alone by myself, and I want to open it to collaboration with you. And that's how, so it became more easier for me to make it more authentic in terms of everything, everything was written in English, and even all those expressions in judo expression between all these athletes and the coach, and I needed to find out what are these slang expressions that we say in Farsi. So I started with a huge research, and then I got in contact with the coach, judo coach. There is this team of refugees, not only Iranians, Syrian, Afghans, I think there is even Russians between them. And they created this refugee team, and the coach is an Iranian. So I was lucky to get in contact with him, so I started again to check everything with them to make it more and more authentic. And then I watched lots of judo. Yeah.
So I want to know, what was it like for you to be behind the camera as well as in front of the camera?
Obviously, it's not easy. It's very, it's intense, and but even in Holy Spider, first of all, I started my career as a director and assistant on script, and then I continued my work in cinema as a cameraman and editor in France. So it's and then I became producer, and I did documentaries, and while I was doing documentaries, I was doing everything. I was filming myself, editing, producing, and so it's something that I'm used to have these different caskets. But in Holy Spider especially, and maybe you know that I wasn't about to play the main role first. And I was casting director, then I went to the set I was supposed to be there with Ali Abbasi, the director, as consultant and his assistant, and then everything changed and I got the role. But you know, while I was just playing and I was in front of the camera, I was just checking everything in backstage and working with the other actors, and so it's not something that very like it's not that much hard for me. But this special judo is because it was about this coach and the judoka. I think there was something very natural and organic between me and other actors, especially Leila Aryan, because we had this connection already as judoka and coach, and so it was so easy to keep this connection as director and also partner as an actress in front of camera. But then because Guy was there and we were very, very prepared technically and even in terms of acting, it went really smooth and easy.
I really would like to know what does the relationship between these two women, between Leila and you, the coach, say about the relationship between women in Iran who come from different generations?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. This also this is something again organic between me and Aryan. She's a younger actress and she grew up in LA. I think she had some trips to Iran, but there was something, I needed to work with her on accent and even body language to help her to become more authentic. And while we were preparing the movie and working together, she's so intelligent. I had this impression that, look, it's just like the movie, exactly as our connection in the movie. She's another generation, so hard worker and very generous, but very concentrate. And I was just thinking it's nice to see this new generation, how they, it's kind of like rising up a new generation. There is a light there for me about this new generation. And then we started the shoot after, I'm sure you heard about this movement that I call it Revolution, Woman, Life, Freedom in Iran. We started the shooting 2 months after the death of Mahsa Amini and the beginning of this revolution. And we had all this, we had this feeling that we are doing something revolutionary. Every day we were just watching all those images and videos coming on the social media coming out of Iran. And again, I had, with the whole story around judo that we were working on, I had this impression that there is a new, different generation than us. But maybe they are inspired by us, but we were not that much brave and free. And we are learning now from them. There was this exchange of between these two generations in the air because of this revolution, but between me and Aryan and the two, because she comes from box and she was very ready physically. But she had to, judo is very different, and she had to get trained. For 3 months she was trained, and I was there in LA watching her getting this all these rehearsals with a real judo coach. And I needed to learn also how I have to use my body as a coach, because this coach also, she knows how to, do this. So I was her coach, but she was also my teacher, So, yeah, it's this topic of generation in the movie, and the whole time of this, the making of the movie was there. I think we just inspire each other, you know, and yeah.
So, in the movie, who would you identify more with, Layla or Layla's trainer?
Yeah, because of this question of generations, I can say, yeah, with Mariam, yeah. But in a way, with Layla too, because maybe for older generation, I am Layla, you know, but I mean, it's, for my parents' generation, I'm that Layla, and for my generation, yeah, both. But I know Mariam very well because I think, you know, I always say we Iranians, we are good liars, so we are good actors. And we grew up with just learning how to lie from the school, from childhood. And it's so hard to not lie. And at some point, this is the difference. I think this new generation, they just started to hate it. They don't want anymore to lie. You know, they are so honest, and that's why I say they are free. And this is, you know, again something that we see in this movie too. Mariam is so, you know, she's regretting all these years because of her own lie, because she's not honest. And I think in a way, I also lived this, and at some point I also decided to not lie anymore and leave that country, you know, and try to be free. So yeah, and both they.
So what I really like about the movie is that it's also kind of political thriller. And the movie reminded me on the Hollywood movies in the 1970s, the so-called paranoia thrillers. And Layla is under certain control. And there's also the threat that when she goes on fighting, that something will happen to her family. So in which way is this based on real events?
It is, as I said, yeah, we have many sources of inspiration. We have judokas from other scenes of sport. There are many of them who just left the country. Many of them stayed, and as exactly Mariam does, they accepted to. They obey the system. They, you know, they prefer to stay there and I don't know, becoming coach or. Yeah, many long list. And these last years, those who decide to just change their life, and you know, we all know if you leave your country and then you start another a new life. Yeah, if you're, you know, optimist, and if you don't give up, and if you're a hard worker, you manage to, you know, to reach that point that you're willing to. But yeah, more and more, as I said, there is this refugee team now. So yeah, that they were all our. I have many names, but no need to tell you. You can just Google. And after Women Life Freedom again, and this time especially women who are just going to all these competitions, international competitions, and they took off their scarves, and some of them, they got back to Iran and they got in trouble because they did this act. Yeah. But the movie, you know, we have for the whole concept, you know, two special movie in general as which inspired us, Raging Bull and Lion. Yeah, both in black and white.
So I was wondering, for a technical problem, why did you guys decide to shoot the film in black and white?
Yeah, you know, we were inspired by these two fantastic movies, but the main the reason was because, you know, for us, these two women, especially, they are they live in a black and white world. It doesn't mean that they see the world in black and white, but because of the pressure of the system and this system that they are kind of closed in it, it's a black and white world, but they are trying to just break it and go out, and even the frame is getting open and open at the end of the movie. When there is a light there, and they are just about changing their life. That was the main reason. And the judo uniform is in black and white. There is no color, so aesthetically also we found it as a good decision.
So maybe now we can talk about the second movie you present here. It's Shaida. It's an Australian production that features a strong women character once again. And could you tell us why did you choose this character to play?
Shaida. Who can say no to Shaida?
Yeah, what I like is...
I have a very good friend, Goldshifteh Farahani, maybe you know her, an amazing actress, Iranian actress, and she's like my sister. And one day she called me and she said that there's a butterfly waiting for you. And she put me in contact with Noura, the director of Shaida. I found it, first of all, because it's a personal story. It's the story is about director's life and her mother. They were living in a women's shelter because of domestic violence story, and the whole topic for those who didn't see Shaida, it's about domestic violence, and it's the personal story of the. So I found it very, very brave to approach this personal story. It's so hard to tell your story, but at the same time I think it's kind of healing, going through cinema and telling your own story, trying to stay in distance and watching yourself, but not judging. And the way she approached this story, especially about her father and the husband that we see in the movie, there is no judgment. I think sometimes you have pity for him, sometimes you understand him, and it was obviously for me, I just immediately said, yes, let's do it. But I think it was kind of my hardest shooting ever.
Could you explain more why it was so hard?
They are living in Melbourne, and again, they were so generous to share with me many materials about their life. There was hours and hours of recordings of her mom and documents, photos, and everything. And so I had enough time to prepare myself, and when I went to Melbourne for the shooting, I met her mom, and we became best friends immediately. And she was also very generous and always there for me. But just watching, when I just got in contact directly with her mom, and I just saw, wow, what a strong woman. And then watching the director making this movie, behind the camera, it was just like I have my role model there. Her mom never was on set, but she was, I could understand all these panic attacks and this suffer and pain, but also joy, because this movie is also about joy and hope and, spring. New Year and dance and so yeah, but just watching them, it was, and we had this wonderful little actress who was from the beginning big star. She had everything, and without complaining, she was always there, but we needed to protect her from the topic. And that was also, again, hard. And so we needed, for all those little bit violent scenes, we had a double. but we needed to protect the doubles too. You know, it was just crazy, and yeah, and I just tried to never come out from this character for 2 months. Even weekends, I was just in myself and trying to live those feelings. It was. I learned a lot. I was thinking when I was working on this movie, I was thinking it's all about how you overcome your trauma. But then when the movie was finished, I just thought it wasn't about, you never overcome your trauma. It's all about how you live with your traumas, you know. And I learned a lot, I think, because I really went deeply to this process of this character.
I'm like, because I saw Shada the other night, so I was very sorry. Okay. I noticed that the ending credits, one of the producers of Shada is Kate Blanchett. And so, have you ever discussed with her on the theme of the film or the issues that you would like to address?
Kate, yeah, first of all, it was so nice to hear she's supporting, you know, an Iranian project, exiled filmmaker, a movie about domestic violence. And in this movie, we see all these women in this women's shelter supporting each other. And having Kate was very, very, very beautiful and promising. But I didn't have the chance to meet her before shooting, and then we met each other in Tel Aviv while I had my Holly Spider in Tel Aviv. And we became also, you know, everyone in this project was, because everyone was there with all heart, I think, we all got connected very, very fast. So Kate also, she became one of I have so respect for her, and I see she's supporting new filmmakers, young filmmakers, and yeah, it's great to see that. It's, you know, it's so inspiring.
So you won Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival in 2022 for your role in Holy Spider, and you play a journalist who is investigating a serial killer case. Working as an actress in general, does this mean researching, investigating a character, her emotion, her inner life? Is this your attitude to being an actress?
In a way, yes. I can't say I have a special technique, but I think this is the way I work. I start with I mean, if I connect to that character and I choose it, then I always start with the research. And you know, I think I believe all these characters, even that killer in that movie exists. They exist in us. It's just a matter of how you reach to that character, and you make it authentic. And I think the whole process of research helps me to just to have a better understanding of the character, and then I just let it behind and I start just to feel it. And I think, and you know, I have always, before shooting, my plan for it's not, I think not all actors they do it, but I almost can't work without my schedule. It doesn't mean that I can't do improvise. For example, Holly Spider was totally improvised. Everything was very improvised. You know, we had the script, but on set, it's a very special way that Ali Abbasi works with actors, and I loved it because, you know, it's all about 3 takes, but then every take you have a different direction. You know, once you start with what you see in the script and you have it already, and then the second time he comes and he asks you completely something else. Like if that was about your anger and everything, this time you go so happy, you change your lines, and whatever you want to say, you say, you know, and wherever you want to go, you go, and camera just follows you. And so it's, that was something that really helped about this character and this journalist. And yes, because it's a journalist, so and it's inspired by a real character, halfway. And the other halfway is very inspired by my experience when he decided to go with me for this character. I suggested to change the age of the character because she was younger, and that just helped me to bring my own experience of life in Iran and in a patriarchal society. And I told you I was making documentary too, and that experience kind of between journalists and documentaries also helped a lot. Yeah, there is always a combination, it depends on the character, but Holly Spider had this, as you say, this process of investigation.
So you've worked on films in different countries and cultures, such as Iran, France, and Australia, and other European countries. So how do you find this? How do you find these experiences working in different countries and different cultures?
It's a chance. Sometimes I think some people, when they are forced to leave their country and work in other places, and you can become homesick, you can lose your hope, you can just decide to change your life and career and profession. But for me, from the beginning, I knew that cinema is my life. And I think that was the only motivation after leaving Iran, because I was forced to leave, and it was not my decision to live in that way. And then, like in one day, I just found myself in Paris without speaking French, without knowing anybody, and cinema in France is so closed, and I'm still trying to get into it. But I take it as a chance, because if you have it and if you have this passion and you know what you want to do, then it's a big, big chance. It's a window to the whole world. Today I don't say anymore I'm Iranian or I'm French. It's maybe very cliche to say that, but I really have this feeling. And my home is where I am. I'm a citizen of everywhere of the world, and so maybe because I believe in it and I had the chance to work very internationally. It was frustrating in the beginning. You don't know the different. It's hard to work with 4 countries and different cultures and people that can't even understand each other. But it's beautiful. I learned a lot, and it opened to me many opportunities. Yeah.
So far, which character would you consider your most difficult, and how did you prepare for that?
Shayla, in a very emotional way, but I have another movie, Les Survivants, in France. It's a French movie, but it's about an Afghan immigrant who's trying to pass by the mountain, Italian-French mountain. And it's a very beautiful movie. It's only 2 characters. There is a guy who's helping her anyway to pass the mountain, but it was so hard physically because during the winter we were very, very high in the mountains. Snow like till here, minus sometimes 20, and I was frozen, and I had only baskets and jeans. Trying to be warm, but I had many things to. But in an hour, I was so cold. Very hard. Again, because it was about an immigrant, emotionally also very hard. These 2 are. Yeah. I hope you will find that movie too one day.
You told us that it was quite hard in the beginning in Paris, and I found a quote of you that because being exile, you had to become a director, a producer, an editor, and a casting director. How did it happen? So you needed...
I have my brand now. I think because, as I said, it's all about my passion about cinema. I like every corner of it. I started by directing, by making short movies. Before going to university, I was 16, 17. Started with being assistant and scripting short movies of my friends. Then I made my short movie. Then I had we had a neighbor family, and they are very famous and legend of theater and cinema in Iran. And I was lucky to have them there, and I just grew up with their son, like my brother. And when I was really decided to do cinema, this director, my friend's father, he said, if you want to make movies, I suggest you go and learn acting, because all about technique, you're gonna learn it, just in practicing. But you never learn how to work with your actors if you don't try yourself. And that's how I went to acting school, and maybe because I wasn't that much confident, I didn't know if I can connect to this acting process. But then immediately I found it very interesting, just having this chance to live different characters, and and going deep. I learned a lot from acting about humanity, about myself. And that's how I just developed all these. And then, yes, by force too, because at some point in France I had to, even in Iran for a year and a half, I wasn't allowed to work. I couldn't play anymore, and I needed to work, and I wanted to continue working, so I just started to learn editing and filming. Then I learned this, and in France I used this. And still, if I could have another life, I would love to become a DOP,
Maybe in 10 years we will have you here and you will explain us how you framed a certain image.
Yes. Can you tell us about the situation of actresses in Iran now?
Very different and sad. But in a way, I'm very proud of them, many of them. Cinema is a very conservative, I think, community in every country. And in Iran, more, because we have censorship, and especially for actresses, you need to be covered always, you can't do everything you want, lots of problems. Sometimes you can't even move as you need to move as a character, because here and there we can see more and it's not okay. So it's kind of humiliation when you work as an actress in Iranian TV and cinema. And with this revolution, Women Life Freedom, I think at some point finally, even filmmakers and actors, especially actresses, they became, they changed it. They just got that this doesn't work. We need our rights back. And that's how many of them, they took their scarf just to resist. And that's how they can't anymore work. And many of them, they said, great actors, Taraneh Ali-Dosti, for example, who's one of the well-known actresses in Iranian cinema. You know her with Asghar Farhadi's movies. It's, she took this scarf and she said, I won't work in this cinema anymore till you don't change all these laws. So it's so inspiring and beautiful to do this, and many others, hands in hand. But at the same time, I feel there is no more cinema in Iran. There is an underground cinema coming out now. And other brave actresses, they started to play in movies without hijab, without scarf, and these are all really underground movies, and they have to then come out from Iran with those movies, because they can be arrested, they can be, anyway, they can't anymore work. There are good news and bad news, I mean, the fact that they are resisting and they're trying to find a way to work, to continue working and change the whole system, force the system to change it, it's very beautiful, but many of them, they are in trouble.
You were mentioning about this production company to make films about women empowerment. Can you speak about more about this company and its visions and the ideas behind it?
Yeah, that's something very, I think, organic, because I was doing my documentaries. Then because many of us, we want to do movies and we don't find good money for it, or head, or support, or, I want to tell my story. It's 15 years. And it's a fascinating story, my life, I know it. And I can't find the right producer, And that's how I thought that many other friends I have, that they have wonderful ideas, and only because all those people who are just investing money in cinema, they have their taste, they have their calculation, and it's not a open world to us. You have to do compromise, and that's how I thought, okay, I have to be a producer and help the others. But that's an optimistic way of doing it. And everyone told me, don't do that, it's, trouble. It's a trap, and it was, but I'm happy to have this company, this tool again, as I can do many things that maybe other filmmakers, they can't, because they don't know how, or they don't have this structure. And I can invite others to get together and do something, and it comes from here, this idea. And then I thought, I'm not very feminist, but I think at the end of the day, I know we have more difficulties as women in this industry, in this world, and everywhere. I think in France too, in Iran, I think everywhere there is a progress, but it's just very small. Think how many female filmmakers we have. Yeah, it's getting more and more, but it's at least 10. But I think maximum 20% of the whole. And so it's just, again, in an organic way, I started to focus with all other colleagues that I have in this company, focus on female journeys. Yeah. But it doesn't mean I don't want to be in a frame, I don't want to tell only Iranian stories, neither. It's just about, because I knew this better, I started in this way, but every day is a new day, and I try to learn also and open it to myself.
And so does working as an artist also help you to come to terms with everything you've experienced in your own life? As being an actress, has it helped you?
Of course, I think I hated to say I do therapy with acting or with cinema, but I have to say that because I said I think all these characters, all these stories exist in this world, and this is the tool that I have, and I'm happy that I didn't have an easy life, and I can go deep in some feelings and emotions, and I understand maybe things that not everyone understands, and and I need to learn every day too. So it helps me, yeah, it helps me, and I don't, I try to use it, as I said, for Shada or for Holly Spider. It's not like I didn't have this trauma as Noura and her mom, but I can find it in another way in my life. And I can use it in my art. And I think the more you suffer, the more you become creative. So yeah, the good.
So before we open the questions, I have one last one. The artist Shirin Nesat once said in an interview that Iranians in exile became even more Iranian. And I believe that was also meant in a positive way. Is there also a kind of pride in the rich Iranian culture? How did you see that?
That's right. You know, I hated, when I was in Iran, I hated Iranian pop music. I hated Iranian dance. And like after a few years being in exile, I started to just miss it. And now I'm a big Persian dancer and just, you know, I think you start to see it from outside, and it's not about only missing something or nostalgia. It's also about how you watch it, because when you are stuck in it, you always want to just break things and go out. I hated to cook. I was watching my mom cooking every day. I was like, oh, you're crazy. And now I really love to cook Iranian dishes for my friends, you know, and then you learn that this is your value, this is something original. I don't know why to not accept this. And I think that's how, I'm sure it's about all immigrants around the world. You need to, I don't know, start to do those roots to stay yourselves in a way. Yeah.
Thank you for that very nice answer. I guess the audience now, you will have plenty of questions. Here on the left and on the right side are microphones. So you should come here. You are the first.
我想问一下，您的母语算是法语吗？ Your Turkic language is Farsi?
Is that your mother tongue? Farsi? Is that your mother tongue?
Yeah.
The film is prepared by English, right? Then you translate the language?
No. Yeah, as I said, Guy and Elham Arfani, an Iranian writer, they wrote it, but because the production is an American production, and of course Guy native, he's an Israeli filmmaker but living in US, so of course he couldn't write in Farsi, so they just wrote the script in English, and then Elham turned it in Farsi, and I worked again on that Farsi. That's why.
我还想说的一件事情就是说，虽然这个电影是黑白的，这个不是一个问题来的。我只是想说，虽然这个电影是黑白的，但是就当Leila 的 husband 就是 cross the border 的时候，我感觉那个画面是 colorful 的，对我来说，就那些草是绿色的，就像Karina 的鞋子一样绿。
So she wants to make her afterthoughts about Tatami, where that even though the film's shot in black and white, but then that scene where Leila's husband fled, took the son to leave, she said that she felt that moment. It felt like the green is grass. The grass is green, like as green as my shoes. So she said she felt that even though it was black and white, but that specific scene, it felt like it was filled with life and colors. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
OK， Bienvenue. Let's see. First of all, thank you for the movie because, just like you said, I also see this movie is a gender war. Everyone making decision is man ordering the woman. And my question is that you just mentioned the black and white represent the pressure they face in Iran. The white after in Paris is still remain black and white. And also after the game in Georgia, the association announced the banning of Iranian player to play the game, but just after a year, the Iranian player already playing against the actress. So are you suggesting that the punishment against the Afghan regime in sports events is not is too light, especially the Olympics is coming? Thank you.
The end, so the end, she said that in the end where they were rescued, so they were playing against the opponent, which is Iranian. So she said, is this making some suggestion?
This again is totally inspired by the reality. It happens in that way. They banned Iran and then they again opened it to Iran to come and compete. And why black and white? We had a long discussion to make it in color in the end, or leave it open to audience to decide or to judge or to think when breathing if their life gonna be one day in color or not. Because I think there is another story after that moment and we don't know. No. Maybe it's gonna be in color, but maybe not.
Hi. First of all, kudos. That was astounding, and especially for your directorial debut. I want to dig a little bit deeper into how, as a co-director, if you and Guy had to divvy up the tasks. So I'm assuming because you are an actress as well, did he leave it for you to take care of the acting and the performance, and then was he more on the technical side with the framing and the DP and you know, all the visuals? How did you manage, because I'm a director myself and I can't imagine co-directing with someone.
Yeah, that was very frustrating, deciding about this collaboration when he offered this to me. Because we are all that no directors have the ego. It's so hard to just collaborate with someone else. And then he's an Israeli, I'm an Iranian, and we have all these conflict background, you know, historical background. And this was going to be the first collaboration between an Iranian-Israeli director. So I had all these, how can we do it? And then exactly we thought, okay, it's better for everyone to focus on, to divide all these responsibilities. And because Guy had this idea from the beginning of making this movie in black and white, and you know, technically, yeah, he could see this movie, and I joined him in this journey. So we left it to Guy to deal with technical, aesthetic questions, and then yes, because of my, you know, everything about authenticity, about Iran, and acting and script was in a way in preparation with me. But you know, that was not easy because I was just also trying to stay in the concept of movie with even acting wise, even with the script, and how then, you know, we had a very short time and short budget for a difficult movie about sport. And they were trying to, with our DOP, to find a way to make all these, it's like choreography, everything. And the judo itself, it's like dance for me. So we needed to discuss all this, even in terms of acting. But once we were on the set, everything got really mixed It's not. It doesn't mean that I didn't talk to the camera or he didn't go to the actors. But we had so much respect. It doesn't mean that we agree on everything. But we never argued. We had this respect, and I think we found this balance, and we really enjoyed working together, and we learned, I think, from each other. And yeah, at some point we were just, I was talking to the camera, I was talking to actor, guy was doing this, and we were watching again together, and very organic.
Do you think you'll direct more?
Sorry?
Do you think you'll direct more after that?
Yeah. Actually, that was my plan, and Guy knew this. That's why he offered this, of course.
So I got science. One last question, please.
Oh, I'm so glad about that. I fly just in the moment, and it's my first movie to see the movie. It's yours. So I have maybe 2 questions, but I will ask for quickly. To begin with, my first question is, so Amir, you're the coach of the Leila, right? And so I want to ask that, why you change so quick? I want to ask why you change, or when you change. I couldn't say the totally change clearly from the movie. So I just say, oh, you change. But I don't know why.
你是说指那个改变是什么？
对，我是想问，就是我只是看到直观的，就是它改变了，就是在某一个点上它就变了，因为它整体的线索是用那个就是一个远程的一个控制在走嘛，然后对，然后我看到的就是说整体的，就是它之前一直是持就是有点柔和，他就是在一边想 ，OK， 我要支持他，因为他让他走到了第3步，但是他之后又是让他
弃权，
对，
放弃了。
因为这个地方是可以理解，因为很简单，就是他也有他的家庭嘛，因为女性，然后但是就是
very complicated. All right, she's explaining. I was asking her what the change is. She's saying, as Leila's coach, you were very supportive of Leila in the very beginning. She said almost like that sudden change, where she's not your problem. She's gone against the rules, and she's not yours. You're not responsible for her anymore. She's that change. She felt that was a sudden, for her.
That's a negative critic or
那是批评吗？还是善意的？还是
That's not a critic. It's just a questionnaire.
it's observation, 是不是？观察。
I like this movie so much.
She likes it.
Totally crying from beginning and for the end. I love this movie so much. And
Thank you. I think I understand what you mean. That was in a way my problem when I read the script, and I didn't want to see this sudden change about Marianne. Everything happens in a day. It's an intense time, and she is facing all these horrible news from system now and she's seeing herself also in Leila. She remembers herself when she sees Leila in this condition and situation. She starts to regret, because for me she had kind of even jealousy, because she could see that Leila as this brave new generation, she's trying to handle this situation and overcoming and getting free of it, but she is the one who lost everything, and because of all these different emotions, I was just trying to give it different layers, and we even got back to that stadium in Tbilisi, I think 5-6 months after our main shoot time, when we started editing, because we felt we need still, I told you we had a very short time of shooting, and we needed still some shots for Mariam. And we got back again there to build this decision up, because it was still for us also a bit just suddenly. And we shot all those corridors with Mariam and running, and to make it more intense, personal, to leave it to feel this decision. I hope now it's more deep.
I know that. Thanks a lot. Okay.
So, we have to finish, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry. But thank you very much, and thank you.